Thank you so much, Rick. It is my pleasure to introduce you to our next speaker. It's Christabel Hudebro, CEO of Lithium Power. Crossing to Christabel now.
Hello, Amy, and thanks for the invitation here. Okay, I will show you Lithium Power International. LPI is an ASX listed company. We are a lithium developer with a very well diversified asset base in terms of source. We have assets in both the brine sector and the hard rock sector in Australia and in Chile. Okay, just want to start with this slide that I think it's very interesting because it's a different way, to see how tight this equation between demand and supply is going to be. This slide gathered all these the latest announcements from each one of the car manufacturers in the world, with all their plans for their electrification plans basically in the future. And it's very clear, that we're not going to have enough lithium to be able to cover all this demand. But let's go straight into what's our flagship project is. Well, the Maricunga project is located at the third region in Chile. It's right next into right within the lithium triangle, right next to Neolithium, which is the company that just went into this transaction with the Chinese company Zijin. We control, at the Maricunga Salar, we control around 1/3 of the exploitable area of the Salar. We have been working on this project for the last 7 years, but I think this slide summarizes very well what the project is today. We started by 2017. We issued our first resource report under NI 43-101 and JORC standards, with more than 2 million tons of LCE in terms of measured and indicated resources. At the same time, we started the operation of our pilot evaporation ponds, and we issued our PEA. In 2018, we produced our first sample of lithium carbonate battery grade with the German company GA Metso, which is a company that is working with us since 2018 on the design and testing of our production process. Also by 2018, we submit our environmental impact assessment to the Chilean authorities. And by the beginning of 2019, we released our original DFS with very interesting economics. The project originally had a capacity of 20,000 annual tons of lithium carbonate battery grade for 20 years. Once we released our DFS, we started with all the processes for the EPC and also for the financing structuring of the project. Of course, well, by the beginning of 2020, and what's have been probably the main milestone of this company, we received our environmental approval for the project. And but also, like everyone, the COVID caught us, and mainly the uncertainty that the COVID generated, not in the markets in terms of the liquidity for to be able to finance the project, but mainly on the uncertainty that the COVID generated on the capex estimates. We decided to slow down a little bit things until more clarity. Until we have more clarity on what was going to happen. So by the end of 2020, we decided to move forward with a stacked strategy in Maricunga, and we divided the project into 2 stages. By then, we had a lot of information about the Maricunga Salar, and we knew that the potential of the Maricunga Salar was much bigger than what we thought originally. So the assets now were going to be able to produce around 30,000 annual tons of lithium carbonate. So That was why we decided to came up with this stage 1, which even though is slightly smaller, it has a nominal capacity of 15,000 annual tons for 20 years also. But that decision led us to accelerate everything in the project. So we resumed all the processes in which we were working before, meaning, the EPC process and also the financing structuring. On the EPC side, we decided to update our DFS because it has more than 2 years by then. So along with that, we decided to go down deeper into the Salar. Our first exploration program just reached 200 meters depth. Now we went down to 400 meters within the mining concessions of the stage 1. And we just released a month ago an updated resource report with an increase of more than 90% on our resources. Also, on the financing side, by the end of April, we signed this agreement with Mitsui, which was something which we started working in 2019. It's a very interesting agreement as it has a wide scope. On one side, Mitsui will act as the off-taker for the project at prevailing market prices. We're not considering any kind of discount on our production on this offtake. But also Mitsui will be one of our strategic equity partners, and also they are bringing, to the table the Japanese banks, JBIC, Japanese Bank for International Cooperation, and the JOGMEC, that we expect to act as the senior lenders for the project. And on the other side, this agreement also has something about technology. We started cooperating with Mitsui in 2018 on the development of this direct lithium extraction technology they had that has been tested only using Maricunga brine. We can't disclose the name yet of the other, technological partner of Mitsui here, but the pilot plant was built in Tokyo and it started its operation by the beginning of April this year. And now that borders are back open here in Chile, discussions have been around dismantling the plant in Tokyo and bringing it to Chile. But overall, the Maricunga project is by far one of the most advanced real lithium projects in South America. We have been working for more than 7 years in the development of this project, only with tier 1 engineering companies. The DFS was prepared by Worley. On the processing side, we have been working with GA Meso, which is one of the leading suppliers of the lithium industry. So and even though we will have a updated numbers on our new DFS that we expect to release by the end of this year, the economics for the project are very, very attractive. We continue, we will continue being in the first quartile of the industry in terms of cash cost. So that generates a lot of advantages for Maricunga. Now, as a summary, sustainability has been in the center of our development since the beginning. We have a very strong ESG strategy. On the environmental side, the use of water has been reduced significantly in more than 70% compared to the established producers here. And also part of the water that we will be using will be, recovered from our own process. All the energy that we'll be using this project will come from solar renewable energy generators. And in terms of our social issues, we have excellent relationships with our indigenous communities or the indigenous communities, present at our influence area. We have been working with them on the design of this project since the first day. And basically, they will participate on the benefits that this project will generate throughout all its mine life. So if we take those, that very small royalty and we take it to present value, it will be a contribution of more than $15 million to the communities that will become one of the highest, contributions from a private company here in Chile to indigenous communities in the future. Like I said before, we do have this strategic alliance with Mitsui. We have only worked with tier one companies on the development, which shows how serious this project is. All the supplies have been secured, the water supply, the energy supply, the transmission line has been, is built and is operational to the Maricunga Salar. All the existing roads are already built, and of course, Chile is a mining country, so we do have an excellent port infrastructure. In summary, Maricunga is today a fully permitted project, and basically our only milestone ahead is to close the financing structuring, for which we are working, very hard today. And in terms of our timeline, we are expecting to be able to close that financing structuring and these binding agreements with Mitsui probably during the first semester of next year. So right after closing that, we will be in a position to take the final investment decision and basically starts the construction of the Maricunga project. The construction will take around 2 years, and so we expect to be out in the market with our first, commercial production by the end of 2024 or the beginning of 2025. Now, in terms of our hard rock assets, we do have 2 groups of mining concessions in Western Australia. One at the north, right next to Port Hedland, which is on the Pilbara area, and one at the south, which is the Greenbushes project, which is basically right next to the Greenbushes mine. At the south, at the Greenbushes area, we control a big, area of mining concessions with more than 300 square kilometers of mining concessions. We have been working a lot during the last year on the definition of what will be, the different areas that will be explored, because it's such a big area, you can't explore everything at once. We have all the permits now necessary, and we're expecting to start our exploration at the Greenbushes area by during December this year. So we should have some, initial results during, again, the second quarter, probably next year. The other group of assets is on the Pilbara area. We started the exploration here in 2018. We stopped all the activities because of the COVID, and we're now expecting to resume everything during the second quarter next year also. So it will be a very interesting and exciting, year for lithium power during 2022. So thank you, Amy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cristobal. Another wonderful presentation. Now introducing Tim Spencer, Managing Director of lithium company Essential Metals. Welcome to the stage, Tim.
Good morning. Thank you, Amy. Good morning to you all. It's great to be here in Noosa, having escaped Perth. Your weather reminds me a little bit of when I lived in Melbourne, lots of rain, but I'm sure it'll ease up soon. All right, let me tell you about the Essential Metals story. And the key is in the name, Essential. So that tells you straight away we're a lithium